Welcome to the Community Leader Podcast, where we talk with successful real estate agents from around the country. Plus, we have discussions with servant leaders who have a vision bigger than themselves and how they're helping their community. Now buckle up. We launch in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Agent Community Leaders Podcast. And I am here with somebody that's pretty awesome, somebody that is going to share some stuff and is going to break a whole bunch of misnomers out there. And I can't be more excited to introduce Lucina. Lucina, how do you say your last name so I don't butcher it?
Striker.
Striker. Awesome. We have so many different weird names out there. People can't even say my last name, so I go by Mo. I shortened it, M-O, right? I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. Now, you have an amazing story. We connected on Facebook somehow, and we're talking about community leaderships or first years or something along those lines, and you have an excellent story to tell. And I want to hear, I want a whole bunch of people to hear your story of moving to a whole new market and clear across the country and thriving. So if you could share with everybody, how long have you been in the business?
July 18th will be my 2-year anniversary of getting my license.
So still green, still brand new.
Very, yes. I feel like I learn something new almost every day, pretty much every day. Maybe sometimes 2 things new.
Right. And we're moving, the market's moving fast. You got in at an awesome time. Tell us about your start. We were talking a little bit before this. Tell us that story about you moving and getting going and all that other great stuff.
Well, we landed here in July of 2020 and I got my license right away. I started with a small brokerage that I only stayed at for about a month. The brokers and my ethics didn't quite jive.
Sure.
I got really lucky. I had been driving around trying to learn the neighborhoods of my new area, and every time I Googled any neighborhood, one brokerage would always pop up. And so when I decided to kind of go looking for another brokerage, I was lucky enough to get an interview with that broker, and she and I just clicked. She's a really classy lady. That's Fontana Realty. And went on board over there, and literally it was kind of like the stars aligning. I came from that first brokerage that had so much bad energy. I walked out of Fontana Realty after meeting with the broker, and she was just so positive and upbeat. And the second I drove out of her office, my phone started ringing. It was like the universe just kind of aligned, and for some reason, at the end of my first week, I wrote 2 offers. I didn't get either one of them. I think I messed up on the first contract and did it completely wrong. And I'm sure that the listing agent looked at it and was like, who's this idiot? So, it was the school of hard knocks quickly. But I ended up joining, I bought Realtor.com leads, and we joined Op City, which is part of Realtor.com. And it just got me driving around and learning the areas. And luckily, I'd been pretty fortunate to have some good connections with horse people in the community that kind of wanted to move out because they saw what we were doing and how good our life was in Florida. And people started kind of flocking out to this area. So, they already had relationships with me in California and a few people in Reno. And I just kind of, one thing led to another, and we got business rolling pretty quickly. And I got to learn a lot fast.
Yeah, you got to learn a lot fast in this business. Learn something new every day. Yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. You can learn something new every day. That's for sure. Nothing ever surprises me. So you moved from California to Florida. You didn't know anybody there. You moved there and you started this up, but your business came from your sphere of influence. You got a lot of business from your sphere of influence.
Majority of the business was from our sphere of influence. And it's funny because, we trained horses in California, and we went to a lot of horse shows, and the horse show world can be a little weird, and people can be very competitive and nasty to each other. And my husband and I, he's a realtor as well now, working as a team together. But he and I have always been nice to everyone.
Yeah.
We go to the horse shows and we compete, but we're not out to kill everyone and be mad if someone beats us. And so we had formed a lot of great relationships just by genuinely being nice and cheering other people on.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, I would say, the basis of our success is founded on just being good to people for no reason, just because
Mhm.
you can be nice.
The
And
kindness project.
it is, and it sounds cheesy and
Yeah.
kind of cliche, but it's really true. I mean, treat others like you want to be treated, and good things come of that.
Sure, it sure does, and, we live in this really weird dichotomy, I guess, now where we can be anonymous, but it seems like, online, and it just seems like the anger and the hate online is just so strong, and even offline, people have become almost sheltered, if you would, that when you can
Mhm.
have a human conversation with somebody, uh, and you can be kind and treat that person with dignity and respect, right? And you may differ in opinions and things like that, but you respect it. Back to human conversation the way that it used to be, and just be kind, just be nice to somebody. It's infectious, and you know it, and they feel it, and I think that's awesome. So now you're here down in Florida, Ocala, which is what,
Mhm.
northwest of Orlando, right?
Yes.
Kinda.
Yes.
Um, so that up there.
Mhm.
And you got business that's following you there from your sphere of influence. What are you doing locally to stand out and connect? Is there anything specific that you're doing that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, another, being in the right place at the right time, I was showing a house and the neighbor across the street was out smoking a cigarette and ended up talking to this guy. And he told me about the Builders Association. And he says, I have a friend over there. And we just got talking about real estate. And he introduced me to someone at the Marion County Builders Association. I went to one of the luncheons, and it was an opportunity to learn about the community. And
Mhm.
I ended up joining the Builders Association shortly after. And now, a year later, I'm a board member and I go to all of the fundraising events that we do. So that's kind of the first phase of getting involved in the community with a nonprofit.
Yeah,
This year, we'll join the chamber and also get involved with the chamber. That's on the business plan for this year.
that's
But
awesome.
it's actually been an amazing year. I got to learn about all of the issues that are happening here with development and some of the things that are happening well, not all issues, but
Yeah.
um, it's kept me very educated because a lot of people moving here want to build a house. And so now I've become kind of an expert in the home building process, and can direct people on how to get that done.
That's awesome. That is really awesome that you are able to. I work with a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and some of them have extensive experience or years. They like to let you know that, and they
Mhm.
don't connect with the community in the same way that you're connecting with the community. And this is a people business, and we got to
Mhm.
connect with the people. So the more people we connect with, right, the bigger our sphere is, the more income we're going to make. And so by giving back and contributing, and this is the thing about servant leadership, if you would, is um you do it, yeah, we're doing it because we are seeking something out of it. We're not
Mhm.
going in there expecting, we're going in there to seek relationships. And to me,
Mhm.
at the core of the transaction, at the core of success is relationships. So the more
Mhm.
relationships you build, the better it's going to be. And instead of building them individually one on one, you get with an
Right.
organization whose sole purpose is impact, right? And you see it on our thing, impact over income. When you
Yes.
can be with other people that want to make an impact, the synergy makes a bigger impact, right? Makes more relationships. It allows you deeper relationships with more influential people, right? Uh,
Absolutely. And the educational part, it's great to have relationships, but also to have the education to help people. I mean, I feel like that is almost the most important thing that we can do as agents, because it's not about selling, it's about helping. And
Helping.
if you have the education, then you're able to help more people.
Yeah. So your first year in the business, or first full year in the business, might not be a calendar year, but your first full year in the business. And this is, I love to hear this. I love to hear this, and I want this to be inspiration for everybody out there that's brandy new. Because as we already agreed, you're still brandy new, but you're out there doing the hard work. You're out there my hat goes off to you. You're doing the right things. So many people come into this business and it's just like, oh, I'm going to spend my life savings running Facebook ads. That works, but it takes time and a lot of consistency and a lot of systems. And it might be months before you are actually able to capitalize. Where today you can walk out the door and go meet somebody or join an organization or do something where you can start today versus the other way. But your first year in the business, tell us about, and a lot of this came from your sphere, guys. Everybody listening, this came from your sphere. This is the importance of having good relationships and having good integrity and staying in touch with people. Some of the things that I've done in my past when I was coaching was I would do a social media audit and I would go through people's profiles. I'm like, you got to get rid of this picture of you with the beer and smoking a cigarette looking trash. People aren't going to take you serious, right? But what was your first year like? What did you do, if you don't mind sharing? How many sales? If you want to put the production number in there, you can, but we don't have to. But what did your first year look like?
I closed over 40 deals my first full year, and about 8 million in sales.
Wow.
With our average home price being right around 200,000. So it was a lot of transactions. I had a variety of vacant lots all the way up to horse farms, and everything in between. We always talk about not discriminating, but that's part of being a realtor, but also not discriminating on finances, which isn't part of a protected class. But my very first deal was a $3,750 vacant lot. And I treated that guy the same as I treated my $1 million horse farm. So it was a lot of transactions of a vacant lot here, a $150,000 house here, $550,000 horse farm here. And it didn't matter. All it was about was helping people no matter what type of property they wanted.
Yeah. So I think that's so important. And again, it's impact over income. A lot of people will look at properties or look at prices. I mean, hell, I've done this for 20 years, sold a lot of things. I might have been that way myself. Be like, yeah, I'm just going to refer that $25,000 trailer out. Oh, hey, that guy referred me. Thanks for that. He just bought a, beach property. What?
Yeah.
Right. So you never know who the other person is or who the referral comes from. That you do treat everybody with integrity and kindness, right? And as we can see here, 40 transactions in your first year, 8 million in production dollar. To me, that's an excellent business, right? I don't at this point in my life need to do any more than that. That's perfect, right?
No, it was a lot. It probably was, it felt like a lot because our market's so crazy right now that you're out showing many homes, and by the time you make it back to the office to write an offer, 10 of them are already pending. If you're not writing that offer in the field in the house that you're looking at, you might not get it. So there was a lot of running around that, we're hoping for a little bit of a swing in the buyer's side of the market soon, because we're getting a little tired.
The way Florida is growing, though, I did a feasibility study down there. I think it was 2019, 18, somewhere around there, for a new construction project. And at that point, it was estimated that the population was going to grow 6 million over a decade. I think that's been upgraded to like 10 million. So I don't know if the slowdown's in your future, but we'll see. We'll see.
I don't think so. I don't think it is. And with what we have here with the World Equestrian Center, there's such a draw to come here now that it's, everyone wants a piece of Ocala right now.
Yeah. And listen, guys, the interesting thing about what she just said was equestrian. I don't expect many of us to be able to spell that, but it does start with an E, and I'm gone from there. Equestrian, EQ, equestrian, right? Equestrian, it's a niche. And, something about the equestrian people is, horses are an expensive hobby, right? It's not
Mhm.
even a hobby, it's a lifestyle really. But the equestrian world, they have specific needs.
Mhm.
If you got a horse, you need a barn, you need some land, right? Oftentimes these properties can be a little bit more expensive or whatever, but learning a niche, and you were doing this out in California, and now you got people that are following you
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
Sometimes it might take you a few years in the business to find a niche, right? But here you are with this particular niche, with this particular club. How
Mhm.
important do you think that niche played in your business?
It was the backbone of our of the company. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what mostly what we did was move people with horses. Almost everybody that came, even if they weren't buying horse property, I had a lot of referrals through connections with the horse people I had. So even some of the investors that just wanted um, investment property, rental properties, they came through the horse connections.
Mhm.
So it's very important to have a niche. And now I think with the new construction, I think that's kind of my second one that I've built just from being here and involved with the Builders Association.
Yeah, and right, what's the word we call evolution? You're
Mhm,
evolving, right, into a
mhm,
well-rounded, but being involved in a niche, and there's so many niches out there, you just figure
mhm,
out your niche, you figure out what you like, what you're good at, right? Because I
mhm,
do really believe that if we can spend the day doing exactly what we want and we call it work and get paid for it, it's not even like working, right? So being around those
yes.
people. But there's so many different niches out there. There's Airbnb people that are looking
Mhm,
for emerging areas, right? You learn about it, right? When you can learn about it versus listen, when you go to a doctor to get your checkup, you're going to a generalist, right?
mhm,
If the generalist thinks that there's something wrong with you, you go to a specialist, right?
right,
I do believe and the specialist makes more money. Even
right,
though they only focus on this one thing, they make more money. So learn your
absolutely.
niche, find out the things that you're good at versus, oh, I just need to sell a bunch of homes because I do believe a lot of real estate agents are in survival mode. They're trying to
Right.
get the next transaction to pay their mortgage. But if you
Mhm,
have a niche and you get involved with these people, it might take time. It's taken you years to build up this reputation, I'm
mhm,
sure. But what's
mhm,
what's something that you could, right? Here's a fun question. You 2 years in, so now you're a pro, you're a veteran, right?
mhm,
What's some
mhm.
advice that you could give to a new agent coming into the business?
Write a business plan. Treat
Nice.
this like a business. This is a business, and if you're gonna do it, put your all into it. Why are you laughing?
Music to my ears. Music you sound like me 5 years
Yeah.
ago, 8 years ago when I was training. Yes, write a business plan, right? It
It
is
really
business.
it is, and it's evolving, and you have to look at the business plan. You know, my husband and I just are remodifying our business plan now that he's an agent. He's been an agent for about 6 months now, but we've changed a lot in 6 months. We've changed a lot in 1 year.
Mhm.
And when I first started and I wrote that business plan, I look at it now and I was like, it was really vague and didn't have a lot of meat to it. But even though it didn't, the little bit it did had gave me a guide. And now we can go back and say, okay, this is more the direction we want to go. This is more the brand we want to be. This is what we want to focus on. So every year you have to review it and change it to fit what you start to like to do. I mean, there's things that I thought I would totally I thought I was only going to do horse properties when I first moved here, and
Mhm.
it turns out that I really like working with the builders and the new construction, and it's kind of a big deal here. Now I'm kind of getting into uh, we have a lender that specializes in 203K rehab loans and
Yeah.
conventional rehab loans, and there's a lot of old homes here that need that. So that's kind of something that we're educating ourselves on now as well, so that we can take some of these neighborhoods that are a little run down and be able to get normal home buyers that can't be bidding for cash on these other homes, and hopefully get them into a program where they can fix these houses up and live in something nice. So, you know, you have to keep evolving with what you like to do. And I like to see neighborhoods get cleaned up too. So that's why this rehab loan thing is
Sure.
kind of a big deal to me, because I want to see some of these old homes that are run down turn into nice livable homes again.
Yeah, I mean, that supports the whole economy, right? You bring
Mhm.
we all lift each other up, right? And that's
Right.
something that we focus on too. But I love to hear your passion, because here you are, you got the horse stuff. Okay, we got that on lock. I'm good here. All right, let me
Mhm.
learn about and get involved in new construction, because new construction is important for the economy of an area, right?
Mhm.
Fresh blood, right? Always coming in, all fresh stock, always coming in.
Mhm.
And then here you are learning about the 203K loan.
Mhm.
About okay, you can't bid over here, but we can come over here, get the rehab, and make it still affordable. I
Mhm.
think that is the sign of a winner, right? And you said about about your business plan evolving and such. And I've asked this question hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, and the amount of hands that don't go up are alarming, which is usually all of them, with the exception of one or two. And I ask
Mhm.
people, which to me is part of your business plan.
Mhm.
Do you do a SWOT analysis? Stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, internal
Yes.
and external influences, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's amazing how many people don't.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to look at your strengths, your
Mhm.
weaknesses, and you're going through that right now with your husband, because your husband's not going to be you, and you're not going to be your husband. You have a
Oh,
strength. He's got
absolutely.
strengths, right?
Yes.
And all
Mhm.
right, what's my strength? How am I going to play this? What's your strengths? How are we going to play this, right? What
Mhm. Mhm.
opportunities exist right now? You just named off three.
Mhm.
Your equestrian stuff, your build new construction stuff, and learning about the rehab loans, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
What are the opportunities? What threats exist? Because there are threats out there. We hear them every day on the news. So you click on it. I don't think it's as bad as they're saying. And
Mhm.
then strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right, I missed one. Weaknesses, because we all have
Right.
weaknesses too.
Yeah.
How important is it that you have a role which is defined and your husband has a role which is defined?
It's very important, because otherwise you just run around in circles, kind of not ever getting anything accomplished. And, he's definitely his strengths of calling people over and over and following up on leads, like that is his strength. And my strength is organizing in the office and getting the plan,
Yeah,
putting the plan together,
yeah,
putting the calendar together. So, we both have our different strengths. And, you know, I'm actually quite shy. So talking to people, this, I'm like, I had to go drink a glass of water and go, okay, I gotta talk to someone new on camera.
yeah,
But, we have to push each other out of our comfort zones as well.
mhm,
So, I'm the social
yes,
media person, but I don't like to be seen on social media. And I know that's a weakness. I have to change that. It's good to do videos. It's good to do things like this. And so
yeah.
here I am pushing on one of my weaknesses, going, okay, do it.
Right. I love to hear that, because I help people overcome fear of being on video all day long. So,
I saw
and
that. I did a little research. I'm like, we might be talking some more.
being able to come out of your comfort zone is where everything is, right? And there comes a point where it's not about you, right?
Mhm.
It's not about you, it's about the company. And that's
Yes.
how I am. It's about the company, it's about the communities and things like that. So my purpose is much bigger. I don't enjoy doing these either, but I have to do it. So I've learned to do it. You are
Mhm.
on the first episode where we got this new visualization. You won't see it on the podcast, so go over to the YouTube channel.
Uh,
But always improving, always getting better, and I think that's a sign of a champion. We don't just become complacent. um we got a couple minutes left. Let me ask you, how important is community involvement to you?
I think it's huge. I think
Mhm.
it's very important. Eh, it comes back to the education. If you aren't out in the community, how do you know what's going on? How are you going to tell people that are moving to your area what the community's like if you're not part of it? I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense if you can say, "Oh yeah, no, I never go to anything. I never go downtown. I don't know what restaurants to eat at." What's You have to be out in your community. And not to mention it's nice to be out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Me.
So I loved everything you just said, and here's it for me. You got a lot of people moving to your area. You want to be out in front, in my opinion. Tell stories of interesting people, places, and things. Why you like living there, why you moved there, right? Because the people that are moving there probably moving there for the same reasons you did, right? And nobody just ends up anywhere. We intentionally move, especially across the country. We're moving with purpose. But if you're able to tell stories about, oh, listen, and this is what I like about Ocala is we got this, and this is the equestrian center. Let's go take a look, and blah 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 blah. And every year right now, all of a sudden, you get a video about that. You can put that on your social medias. You can put that on your websites. You can put that on your video newsletter that goes out. So now people that are looking to move, they're typing in on YouTube or these other areas, and there's you before everybody else talking about, and now all of a sudden they start to build up that parasocial relationship with you. They learn your mannerisms, they know, like, and trust you, and your contact information's there. And when they're coming for a visit, they click that button, right? Versus hope is not a strategy, right? I'm going to run all these ads and hope that when somebody comes, they click on it, right? You're able to be out in front with them when you're on the phone with somebody and say, oh, you're thinking about moving to this area. Listen, I'm driving right now, but if you go to my website and you scroll down, you're going to see articles on everything about our town, and that will start to give you a great virtual tour of our town, right? Who's doing that? Who's doing that?
That's true. And that's actually one of the things that if you're building a business plan, you need to put in a schedule of adding content to the website and making sure, again, it comes back to you want to give people education. What's going on here? And you want to drive people back to always looking at you. So if you have articles or videos, I'll get more videos eventually, but you have articles on your website about the community, then you get people going to your website, and the traffic and the Google. We just got a notice from Google a couple weeks ago that I can't remember what they call it, but it's a community influencer, basically, because you put enough content on Google, and we just got that the other day. I was like, oh, cool, Google's starting to work. That was my January 2022 part of my business plan, was to get my Google rating up. So
good. And Google is so powerful. If you're listening to this, Google basically runs the backbone of the internet, right? Everybody goes there for searching. They house all the data and everything else like that. So you want to be present on Google. And I often will say in my presentations to people, Google is the number one most important thing that you're not doing. Right? Because it's true. And with Google, and if you got your Google business page, whatever they call it today, they always changing the name. You can put a post there or an update with 1,500 characters, a 1-minute video or a thumbnail if you want, and a link to wherever you want to drive them to. Right? It drop down. It's default in there. So you can drive them from there and say, hey, watch the full video. This is a 1-minute video. Watch the full video on my YouTube. Now you're driving traffic to YouTube. And guess what? YouTube and Google, I mean, they're parent and child, right? They Google owns them. So you want to be able to feed directly into the mainframe. It's such a powerful way to do it, but people skip it. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, that's how I found my brokerage. Is that, so I've said at the beginning, I don't know if we were recording yet, but when I was driving through the neighborhoods, Googling this neighborhood to learn about them, my brokerage popped up on Google at the top of the page. And when I interviewed with my broker, I said, the reason I'm even in here talking to you is because your Google rating is the highest of all the brokerages in town. So
that's awesome.
Now my goal is for my website to beat hers on the Google, but
world domination is next. So Lucinda, how do people find you and get a hold of you? What's the best way for that? And Ocala, but what is that general area called if somebody's looking? Ocala?
Central Florida.
Okay.
Central Florida. So I have a website, strikergroup.com. You can find me on Google too, obviously. Facebook, Striker Group. So
Striker.
Yep.
Right? Why I struggled in the beginning was my own ignorance because I didn't have the names up. I was fumbling around with this StreamYard, but Strike Striker, right?
Yep, that's
So
us, Striker
so
Group.
Striker Group. Go find the Striker Group. Follow Lucina on Facebook or Instagram. Where's your strong point, do you think?
As far as social media,
Social medias. Yeah. What's your favorite?
Facebook, actually. I
Facebook.
get leads from Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
So
Me
I
too.
think with the horse business that we had before, we just had built that up already,
Yeah.
and it just kind of materialized. And for some reason, when I put stuff on Facebook, I get more interaction with people
Yeah.
than I do
I like
Instagram.
Facebook the most myself.
Yeah.
For me, it's groups and you're able to interact in groups and things like
Mhm.
that. But I definitely think, and still has the biggest reach for as far as social media platforms go. So
Yeah.
might as well stay there. All right, everybody, we're out of time. Lucina, I want to thank you for being here and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Y'all, if you're listening to this, go to the Real Estate Community Leaders group on Facebook. We're real estate agents that talk about community, sphere of influence, networking, social media, and video. We don't have a lot of noise in there because we keep it up. Those are the things that we talk about. No spam, except by me, of course. But go there. If you go to Facebook/group/community leaders, you will find us. Come join us. Lucinda, on behalf of Explore My Town, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye.